Hello, everyone. So I work in the public field, so I have no company and nothing to sell to you. It's just a conversation, and let us think about the future. So the main idea is to have a conversation on what public services could be changed and could be improved using Web3 technology. Cryptography, blockchain, underlying infrastructure, and so on. So, instead of a longer biography or CV, I just reunited the fields where I worked. So if I will be defined by my academic, I will be like a lawyer because I did law. If I will define by my passion, I started to use Linux as an administrator and to make a PC for people 20 years ago using Mandriva, then Ubuntu and Xubuntu. And I work in crowdfunding in a period where just talking about cryptography was like only criminal and so on. And I did that before joining the administration. And then, because there were no ecosystem at the time, and I had a law degree, so I joined the French government as Inspector of Public Finance at the Ministry of Economy, where I support investigation 6 years, following transaction and so on, and also teaching and helping them understand the way technology works. And now, since last year, I do the same thing, but on cybersecurity side for the Ministry of Interior. So, okay. Doesn't pass the next. Okay, there is latency. A few latency. So this graph was published in 2017 by Chris Burning and Joël Monegro. It was like the early times of investment funds in the cryptocurrency business. And this infographic was really important to me because it made me understood that first we had like open source computers by a centralized private company, but it helped us to have more competition from Dell, Packard Bell, and then Apple, and so on. But you have the centralization at the beginning, and then you can open on the hardware side. Then we had the same thing with operating system. So all was based on the IBM, and Microsoft like make a copy, but it helped and it enhanced other developers to create Linux and merge it with open source libraries and to spread the exact move, but in software. Then we had exactly the same trend in network. So we had centralized network. Internet was made by French and then copied by DARPA and the US Army. And we had Usenet, ARPANET, Defense, and so on. And we opened the network. But it was just for us the ability to read on the internet. We couldn't write collectively. And the next trend is you can read, you can interact on a network, and you can also write together and has what we call consensus. So that's very important because on the next slide, we usually talk on cryptocurrency about payment or money or programmable money, but it's a way bigger change. In the long term, it's all the social interaction and human organization, when it is possible, passing from the centralized organization to a decentralized, distributed organization. And now maybe we are at the middle because we use centralized exchange, we use custodian service because it's more convenient to us. So, but this is the trend on the longer time frame, on the next decades. So for public services and for governments, because people usually organize since the antique Greek through states and governments, We had physical offices, and like 20 years after the first websites, we start to have decent public platforms when we can have public services such as identity, such as social security, and so on. But the next move maybe is to organize and to have the same thing when people can validate and help the state have better services. So I give you 3 examples in which Web3 and cryptography and blockchain could change a lot of stuff. First one is everyone here has participated in an ICO, like an ICO, but it's mandatory and you have no choice. That is tax. Everyone must pay tax and everyone must join the states to have the public services. But you cannot follow exactly the money and exactly how the money is spent. So in France, we have a long culture since Renaissance, centuries, where we can track every credit, public credit. That was my job as an inspector of public finance before, but it's a centralized database. And the High Court of France checking the account, and the parliament, the congressmen, they have the information, but like 1 month or 2 months after. So they don't have it in real time. So what we have budget deficits, public debt, missing data, and as I said, we have 1 month or 2 months late. The information doesn't flow. So what we could do, and this was proposed also by an American presidency candidate, Robert Kennedy Jr. This was also mentioned in French crypto television debates. So, but the idea is in my mind, is to turn budget credit into tokens on a blockchain. And when you have one Ministry of Education, one Ministry of Justice, they all have their credits. You mimic their credits into tokens, into a blockchain, and you can follow where the money goes, when the money is spent, and if everything is spent or not. And that should be like a priority for us. One public spender, one public address, and start local. You cannot do it at the government scale on one time. That's too complex. But you can do it on a small town just to experiment on the first time. I will be quicker. Other use cases, education, verifiable credentials. Everyone or every company must have difficulties to check the credential. Are you a fraud? Are you not a fraud? Did you went to Harvard and MIT and also HEC? No. I have to check every candidate step by step. So we have a decentralized identity that can help you get your degrees in your wallets, but everything can be checked. And basically, the universities and the school turn into validators on open protocols. And it's not that difficult, and it's actually standardized through the Web3C consortium. So the guys that literally invented the web. And at a European level is based on the European Blockchain Services Infrastructure, which is based on a Hyperledger. So it's a permissioned system, but it's not a whole database. It's a step. It's a step. And the third time, which is very, very critical, you have the American election between Biden and Trump, voting machine with fraud, a lot of problem of security. And with election and vote, we need to understand that when we participate, we don't elect the best. We don't vote, we elect, we choose people to rule. We don't rule ourselves. And that's the first problem. And the second problem, you vote for the less bad, not for the best. So this is non-transitivity paradox. Individual preferences, they don't easily transform into collective choice. And we have 2 researchers in France, Reda Laraki and Michel Balinsky, in 2007. They proposed to use majority judgment and to not choose people to rule, but to decide what you want to do. So I give you 100 credits. And if you want to vote on education, you can put your 100 credits saying, I want education, I am in favor of this proposition and not another. But you don't elect people to make the choice. And if you want to split between education, justice, you can split your credits, but you can express what you want and how much you want it. That is intensity of your choice. I will be short in time, but you can also explore quadratic voting that was mentioned by Vitalik Buterin a few years ago, which is an amazing proposal to decide together how much sum we want to invest in a project. And this project can also be a state budget or a municipality project. So basically, we are going to pass from civic tech to liquid democracy. And then the next time, the last mention, you should explore this country, Estonia. This was attacked in 2007 by a cyber attack from Russia. So they had to rebuild entirely all their governments and public services. And they decided to do it since they start from scratch, from nothing, on a blockchain, which was a fork of Hyperledger. So they have, all citizens have this card, which is a smart card, and they have many, many use cases, and all these authorities or government agencies, they are securing the transaction as validators. And it's very convenient. So this is my LinkedIn account, and that's all. Yeah. I don't know. One question? Yeah.
When you talk about having sort of one person related to one public address, you know, how would you enforce that? Is that sort of increasing KYC, or is that something more akin to like a soul-bound token?
It's not basically for citizens in the start. It's for public accountants. You know, we have a lot of politics. They are cheating with the budget and the money. So in France, since decades, we decide to separate. One people is the Ministry of Education. He has a budget and he orders the spending. But it is not the same people that count the credits and check the credits. And this guy who is checking the credits is at national level, then regional, then local, and it's smaller and smaller and smaller budget ballots, credit ballots. But these budget ballots, that they can be on a blockchain, so you can follow it, so you can follow it, and so you can follow it. Exactly. It starts with the people serving their country first, then it will expand, I think, into regulated professionals like lawyers or notarian. That's it.